I believe you're muted.
Okay, sorry. Don't realize that. We're good. Welcome all of you one more time. Today we will organize our second workshop in the scope of Buca Imsef. Dear Richard Myhill is our keynote speaker with the topic of thinking outside the classroom, the value and importance of attending science fairs. Okay, I think I may have dropped. Can you guys hear me right now? Do we have? Okay, just continuing. Richard leads London International Youth Science Forum, which each year welcomes 500 students from 70 countries and an event staff team of 30 persons. London International Youth Science Forum offers a 2-week summer school program in the UK for students aged 16 to 21 years. He is responsible for the overall success of the organization, managing operations, directing strategy. He takes a hands-on approach to running London International Youth Science Forum, including all academic and business strategy, student recruitment, selection, the speaker program, and all event aspects. Richard has a varied background and interest in science, education, economics, and society. He has a bachelor's degree in law from the University of East Anglia and qualifications in human anatomy and physiology. He has also been awarded an honorary doctorate from the University of Benin for his work in promoting scientific opportunities for African students. Dear guests, we would like to invite Richard Myhill to the stage for his speech. The stage is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that very kind introduction, and also thank you for the invitation to be here today to speak with you. Today, I'm going to be speaking about the London International Youth Science Forum, but before I start about that, I'll be talking about thinking outside the classroom and the need for doing extra activities, many of which you will be familiar with, but just maybe a refresher or highlighting some of the importance. I will try and do my best not to speak too quickly. Do shout at me if I go too fast. You should now be able to see my screen and the presentation. Okay, so thinking outside the classroom, what do we mean by this? In terms of lots of science activities goes on around the curriculum and around school, but we want to think about, empowering young scientists. They have a passion in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and what we can do for them to help moving them forwards. A lot of my examples will be based around LRYSF, the London International Youth Science Forum, because that's the event that I run. But of course, these will apply to many summer schools or activities that take place all around the world, and there are very many of them. Now more than ever, I think it's super important to think about the context of science and the world in which we live in. Never has there been a greater need for societies and countries to work together. So this internationalization of science, the challenges that we face today are varied and affect us all. We see this and we get this from many different aspects. Many of us are talking about climate change at the moment, and have been for a number of years. I'm going to keep going. I think the connection keeps cutting. You can just keep dipping in and out. If something changes or you need something, do shout at me. Talk about being creative. A lot of the time in schools, a lot of activity is directed, and it follows a syllabus or it follows preparation for exams. We want to encourage young students to be creative in how they approach scientific endeavors, how they approach their scientific excitement, and what keeps them going. And I want to encourage young people, whether it's attending my event, but I want to encourage all young people to go out there and attend science events, science seminars, conferences, fairs, exhibitions, as many as possible, because it's getting out into the world when you can really see and understand how science works in context and to meet new people. And obviously, I'm going to be talking about the London International Youth Science Forum. So there we go. Fantastic. So the best opportunity for doing an activity usually revolves around something happening during the summer period. This is when most students have the most amount of time to do something outside of their school time. So this is a real great opportunity, as we say, to talk about thinking outside the classroom, but also thinking and learning in a different way. Many of us learn in many different forms, and summer camps and activities are a nice way for students to interact with science materials that's outside of the standard format. We encourage, and many of the science events in the summer encourage and focus on innovation. Innovation is super exciting and is what will set up students for their future successes, both in industry or research. So we want to really encourage that innovative spirit from early on. We have to remember that students are preparing themselves not only to pass exams, but also about how they're going to move forwards or be suited for a career, but also attractive in terms of applications. So it's thinking about how they have broadened their horizons. What have they done to gain new experiences? How have they shown that they can apply theory? They can put it into practice. And that's what I think is so important and exciting about attending a summer event, is that putting theory into practice and putting that into practice in different contexts. So the only way to do that is by practicing. So that's why I always say to young people, get out there and in your summer breaks, try and find as many different enrichment opportunities in STEM as you possibly can. I touched on it briefly. The challenges we face in the world today are great. And I think that young people are bombarded with this negative information, these negative pressures and these thoughts about how many problems there are in the world. And what I like to do and what we do at LOSF is pivot that and talk about the opportunity. You know, there's a great amount of opportunity for students to make an impact, to make a difference, and to change the world which we live in. And arguably now more than ever, there's more flexibility and ability to make those changes as there's more of a movement into doing those. If we think back years ago, some of the international collaborations looked at ending CFC use in aerosols. This was quite a simple fix, but it still required nations to work together in terms of looking at what gases were emitted into the atmosphere. And we made, a big change and banned CFCs across the world. But now the issues that we face are incredibly complex, and they required a cohesive approach that blends science and politics and business. So now more than ever, we've got these opportunities in these areas, and we all know the challenges we face. I've listed them here on the screen. We're looking at the moment and thinking about pandemics and epidemic. We're thinking about food sustainability and availability of materials and scarcity. Food security particularly is a real concern. And I listed at the end, but by no means the last, is the authenticity of information. How do we adapt, and how do we get the message out there across the world about fact-checked information? About, it's not who shouts the loudest that gets heard, but it's those that are supported by scientific endeavors and research that is peer-reviewed. We're facing a world consistently where information is being put out without authors, their sources being checked, without statements being checked, and they're believed as fact. The huge issue around fake news is growing to be ever more important. And I believe young scientists have a pivotal role in shaping how we move forwards and how we look at understanding a real fact that is backed up by scientific and peer-reviewed research. I always say, why not be creative? Why be creative? Well, the sky is the limit and beyond, particularly at the moment with the very exciting developments with the James Webb Telescope and what we're learning in astrophysics. There's all sorts of tangents, if you use that as a metaphor. But what I really want to say to young people is it's never too young to be innovative and to go there, and you have an idea, pursue it. Keep going, be tenacious, look for opportunities to explore and to expand, either with an idea and a project you've got, or being creative and innovative about how many seminars and programs you can get involved with. Universities, top universities all around the world are looking for more and more from their applicants than ever before. I get excited and I spoke a bit quickly. I will try and slow down. So what do we mean, or what do I mean by looking outside the classroom? I always encourage students to think about doing an independent research project. Choose something that you're passionate about, that you are interested in. And this could be something that is connected to you because of an experience that you or your family have had. I've seen many projects that have been formed on this basis where a loved one has gone through a health situation and a student is trying to look to help, to look at, earlier detection, treatments, simple things that can be done in the home that maybe change and improve the lives that are affected by those conditions. But it doesn't have to be. If you are or your students are super excited in a certain field, be that AI or coding or programming or engineering, choose an area where you can do your own independent research project. And it allows you to showcase your scientific method, understand how you can put a new idea out there and how you follow that through. It's a great exercise in understanding how to evaluate what research exists in that area and then how you can go forward with your ideas. I encourage you to apply, as I've said, to many, many enrichment programs and science seminars that are in your field. Go to the ones that interest you, but also the ones that challenge you, the ones that help you to step outside of your comfort zone. This is super important. The challenge around attending extra activities always revolves around cost and travel and commitments in making it work. And there are a lot of challenges, but they are incredibly worth it. And the benefits of attending summer programs or extracurricular activities outside of school are far-reaching, and their legacy is long-lasting. You may find that you are inspired into a different area of science that you weren't expecting. I always give this example. Our president, Professor Claire Elwell, she attended the Science Forum when she was 17, and she wanted to be, or she thought she wanted to go into medicine. She was always excited about medicine, but always had also other interests. But the only thing that she knew about, or that she could see ahead of her, was medicine as a degree. She came to the Science Forum and heard for the very first time about a topic of medical physics, using physics in medicine. And she went, that's where I want to be. That's where I want to go, because I love physics and I love medicine, and actually I can use these together. She's now a world leader in medical physics. She's a professor at University College London. And it's those moments where you can realize that you can find out about avenues of science and of research that are actually tailored to exactly your exciting, or the area that you're excited in. And that happened with Professor Elwell, and it's happened to many other students that have gone into biochemistry or other different areas of fusion science that are out there that you wouldn't necessarily know about in regular school life or in a regular daily life. So that inspiration is super, super exciting and important. Looking at how you can broaden your horizons, we mean by this in terms of thinking outside these standard routes, thinking about where you might go in terms of career or research or a future, whether that's in a huge organization or you're doing it on your own, thinking about what opportunities and what crossovers and collaborations and connections there may be. It may help you to think more clearly about which area of science you want to study. Many students come to me at the Science Forum and say, Richard, I love 20 different topics and I'm not sure which. And it may be at the end of the forum, you love 40. But what you'll find out is that at times some become higher in the list of priorities and they become more exciting. For me, we run an international program, and for me, it is super important to learn from other people from different countries, from different nations, to learn to see how their system works, but also to understand how they approach problems and solutions. And together we can learn from each other and come to find a different way that combines the best of everybody. Also, what's exciting, if you're attending a seminar or a workshop, it usually requires you to sleep there, to spend some time together. And this informal social time is fantastic. It enables you the opportunity to make new friends and connect with people, too many times we're focused in school on science, and then friend time, but not merging the two often in many ways. And attending in a seminar where everyone is really passionate about science gives this exciting buzz and this opportunity for making really amazing new friends, and friends that maybe you're excited and push you further in a new way. And this is what we talk about here in terms of being part of a thriving international community that are dedicated and just as excited about science as you are. Attending such events also helps you to develop your social and personal skills. It's really nervous sometimes, or you can be very nervous standing up in front of people, talking to people, standing up and explaining what you think about an area of science. And the way to help with that is to practice. And to practice that, you need to get out there, meeting different people, being in a room, talking to new people, talking about your work. And this in such a supportive environment where people are going to be excited to hear about what you have to say because they're in the same boat as you, is a great way to develop those skills and understand, we all have the things that we're good at and the things that we're not so good at, and we all have our different way of approaching presentations. During this time, you can really learn what works for you. What are your go-to skills? What can be the way that you can learn how best to get information out there and to come across? And that takes practice, and it's hard, particularly for teenagers. So what are the aims and goals of attending such events? I've touched on most of this already. What I want to emphasize is this multidisciplinary approach, the way in which we're working together across different disciplines of science, but also different subjects as well, how we're blending our thoughts within science and how we're going to make it impactful on society, and what those interlays are with business, politics, community, social sciences are all incredibly vital connections about how we're able to deliver changes and deliver the future in a brighter and better way. I talk about this very importantly about taking your place as a global citizen. As a global citizen, you are able to understand and develop and change the world and know that your outlook is global, looking at what the impact you can make on everywhere and how we can all move forwards together. And don't forget, attending these events helps you stand out from the competition. Many other students are not attending events like this, and many of our students tell us that when they apply to universities or college programs, what they get asked about is the thing that stands out, and the things that stand out are attending, some of these special science events, and you will get quizzed and you will get asked about it. And this gives you the opportunity to stand up and say, yep, I'm Richard and I attended this event and I had the chance to represent my country and I presented this poster and I talked about this. You have a wealth of experience and examples to draw on throughout your time. I would always encourage thorough research. Whenever you're looking at a summer program, always look carefully as to what they're offering. There are a range of topics out there, but there's also a lot of companies out there that are running programs that use the word science and STEM very loosely. And when you delve into the depth of the program, what they're offering, there isn't actually that much STEM or science being offered. So I always look to what's exactly being offered. Many of the programs vary greatly in price, and you have to find a balance between what's feasible, what you can afford, what you can raise the money for, but also what are you getting? What are the opportunities? What role models, what important scientists are you going to have the chance to meet? Just because a program is being held at a great university doesn't necessarily mean it's a great program. You need to really go in and check the details of the program, the experience of other people that have been there, and check what things are happening now. This, after COVID particularly, is really, really important to check out what's being offered and where you want to go. As I'm talking to educators, I always like to talk about the benefits for our students. I've used an example here from Nigeria, but it can be any country. I know we're talking to educators from across Turkey. This can be used in this context here in terms of sending Turkish students out across the world. They're standing as ambassadors on the world stage. They're going to talk about and share their knowledge from their region, but also fly the flag for Turkey, talking about their work and talking about the excitement of things that go on in Turkey. And it puts it on the map for a lot of people. Students will get to meet somebody from Turkey that they maybe have never met and wouldn't have cause to meet in the near future. And that's a really exciting opportunity in terms of getting out there and having the ambassadors, the potential for getting recognition all around the world, and also getting recognition from institutions. There's all sorts of potential collaborations and networking that can go on between different organizations from students attending programs like this. So I will turn to my event, the London International Youth Science Forum. It's a very long title, but unfortunately it is one where every single word is vital to our name. We call ourselves LIYSF for short. We'll answer to anything, whatever makes it easier. But just to bear in mind, we focus on these elements very strongly. We're proud and excited since 1959 to be based in London. We're bringing young people together that are passionate about science. We're passionate about people coming from all around the world, and it's a forum. And by that, we mean we want students to engage. It's not a competition. We want students to be a part of the process. We want people to learn. We want them to debate. We want them to present. It's a very active process. So we're going to run through all the photos are from our event. You'll see a variety of them throughout the next few slides. Our 64th edition, you can see here, is taking place in July 2023. So every year we have around 70, if not closer to 80 countries participating from all 6 inhabited continents. We take our global representation very seriously, and it's super exciting to see different parts of the world represented in different regions and how they come together and how that blends with understanding and also understanding each other's perspectives from a cultural and a social perspective, as well as to a learning and how their academic experience has been. I mentioned briefly, but we were established in 1959. The Science Forum came about by the UK government just after the Second World War. And the idea was to bring young people together from different countries with a shared passion for science, with the idea that it showcased that there's more that brings us together than pulls us apart. And science has a unique and very important role to benefit mankind in pulling young people together and having a benefit for the world over. The London International Youth Science Forum is a non-political, impartial, not-for-profit social enterprise. And that's very important to us. We're here about science and bringing young people together, and we do that as a foundation. We have a long history of exciting connections and historical prestige elements. So the Duke of Edinburgh was pictured here. He was our founding patron, and this is him attending during the very first forum in 1959. He continued to be our patron for the first 10 years. I'm delighted to advise that Her Royal Highness the Princess Royal, Princess Anne, as you may know her, is our current patron. This is her pictured speaking at the forum, and she's done that for the last few years as well. And we're delighted to have this support and endorsement from the royal family. His Royal Highness the Duke of Edinburgh made this statement in his letter to the second forum in 1960. And he talked about the importance, and that time, fortnight was a word and still is occasionally used in the UK for meaning 2 weeks. 14 days. So I want you to realize as you start your fortnight scientific tours and studies here, you're joining a great international fraternity, which is trying to serve mankind. This is a super important quote, and one in which stays true today for us and how we work together. So LIYSF, what happens? So every year we have 500 young people aged between 16 and 21. Typically, they're in their last years of school, about to make university decisions. We deliver a very strong academic STEM program, which is very well respected and is very challenging. We put very challenging material to our students at a very high level. We're the longest running science forum of our kind. And as I mentioned, we are not a competition. We have an independent academic president who helps guide our academic content, Professor Claire Elwell, who I gave as an example earlier, and she is also a former alumni and, as I mentioned, a professor at UCL. We've been lucky to receive for the last 5 years patronage from UNESCO. And we bring our students together in world-renowned venues. And that's this nice blend of modern youth opportunity, but also in a historic, prestigious environment. So we do that at Imperial College London. Students stay in halls of residences looking out of the Royal Albert Hall. They're staying right behind the Natural History Museum and the Science Museum, all in central London in South Kensington. And we think that's really important and really exciting. Obviously, you know, I'm English, you know, I'm very biased about how exciting London is. I'm very excited about lots of other cities around the world. And there are lots of examples of amazing cities and organizations and countries that do incredible things. I'm biased, and obviously I'm very excited about what London has to offer. There are many, many others as well. But as I say, I think London is a very exciting place to come with incredible research going on. And at the moment, it's never been cheaper with the exchange rate. Okay, great. So the program goes on for 15 days, and we look to cover a wide range of STEM topics, and the cutting edge and most relevant topics of our time are covered throughout the 2 weeks that our students are with us. I've listed them here, and they go on the topics that you would expect or that are of great interest at the moment. During the 2 weeks, we have plenary lecture demonstrations from leading scientists and engineers. They include always a Nobel laureate and Nobel Prize winner. These are across a wide range of STEM topics. So they cover, you know, all these sort of topics that you see listed here. But in the program, we also have elements where students can tailor the program to their own individual needs and their interests. So if a student is crazy about engineering or medicine or physics, they can tailor the program to what they're most interested in. And that happens in our specialist lectures, where we have a range of over 8 different topics per day available, where students can choose ahead of time which they're most interested in. And we have 4 days dedicated to visits. Those visits take place across London. They also take place across the UK and go out to Oxford and Cambridge. On a day, we have it's anywhere from 18 to 25 visits available, and students again can tailor their program to suit their own individual interests. LOISF, as I mentioned, is all about getting recognition. We want students to come together and to make the most of the opportunity. We give the opportunity for students to present a project, investigation, a research project, but it's non-competitive. This is where they get the experience of speaking about a project without having to be competing. We send around judges that give critical feedback and challenge the students. And for many, this will be an opportunity for practicing presenting a project in English. During the 2 weeks, our students stay with us on campus throughout, and we take care of everything. So we make sure that there's a very good community spirit. We've got a wide range of cultural and social events, over 10 different activities taking place across the 2 weeks, from treasure hunts to cabarets, to disco nights, to quiz nights, to sports events, to all sorts going on. But we make sure that our students are connected and getting together and learning from each other, and are kept very, very busy throughout their time. We do have a couple of optional extras. You know, if you come to London, you want to go see the London Eye, you might want to go off by Big Ben or go and see a theatre show, and of course we help with that. And as I mentioned, students are accommodated throughout in great accommodation in the centre of London. We take care of all the meals and the travel to all the programme events. We believe it's very important that once a student is with us, we take care of them, and we are your host for your time in London. As I mentioned, it's a huge, important part of the Science Forum, and what we were established for 1959 was about young people coming together to learn about each other and learn about different traditions and cultures. So we put a lot of focus on this because often a lot of the connections and breakthrough moments come through these social activities, this time outside of a focused activity and in a social time where things can happen. So we do a whole range of activities to help foster community spirit and to enable great connections and activities. We're really passionate about having a diversity at the Science Forum and a wide range of cultures represented. And we believe that this is a great foundation for students to make connections, but also friendships Many of our students go on to have lifelong friends with people from all around the world, whom they go and visit socially, but also come in handy later on in their academic careers when they end up doing projects together as well. And we believe that friendship is a super important part of our program. And it doesn't sound, it's not academic, it's not focused on STEM, but it's helping our students to connect with people from all around the world, having like-minded people that are passionate about science that can support students through challenges, through exams, through their ideas in a way that perhaps friends at home don't have those interests. Having friends that are so passionate about the same topics as you is super important and a real resource that we think is invaluable. We're going to talk a little bit about our goals. So what are we looking at and what we do? You can see more about this on About Us page. We look to empower our young students in how they can apply knowledge for both economic and social benefit. We believe in the impact that the Science Forum has on individuals. Those individuals then go back and have, we believe, a richer life, but also go back as ambassadors and help to empower and be to speak about science opportunities and to work in their local community. We help students to see their potential, to empower them in their fields of STEM. We're very passionate about equipping our students with new skills and with new confidence. A lot of times giving students the confidence to apply their knowledge and to demonstrate their knowledge is super important. We work throughout the forum where we showcase international collaborations with a wide range of speakers and visitors that come from across the globe. We want our students to think in a different way, as many of you, I'm sure, will echo. This is something that we're really, really focused on in terms of how can we get students to think outside the box. We want our students to network both with each other, but also with universities, with college professors, with research scientists, with our speakers that are coming through here. We spend a lot of time talking to our students about how they communicate, whether it's at a research project, but also in our debate sessions, in our specialist study day. We do a lot of work throughout that. I mentioned already a lot about our cultural interaction. Excuse me. I have heard a quote from Ami, who attended to represent Kenya. It was her first time outside visiting Africa. And this is one of her quotes that she said in an interview just after the Science Forum about her time at LOSF. And I think this speaks very passionately and very importantly about the impact that attending an event like LOSF can have. And I want to just take a moment to read it. I'm sure you may already, but it's worth taking a moment to really let it sink in. I want to go out there and tell them that with education, we can get somewhere. With science, we can get somewhere. I want to go and open their eyes like my eyes were opened in this forum and show others that we can get everywhere. We only have to have the strength, the will, and we can get there if we want to. This is that empowerment we talked about. This is moving young people into a different level, giving them the confidence to make change. Really, really exciting. So I really want to emphasize that. A little bit of information about our 2023 program. Some of our speakers, you'll see a lot on our website already. Some of our speakers are already confirmed. They include this year's Royal Institution Christmas lecturer, Professor Dame Sue Black. Professor Lee Cronin is a world famous chemist. He runs the world's largest chemistry group up at the University of Glasgow. He's fantastic. Professor Heranya Perez is a world-leading astrophysicist based at UCL. Professor Christopher Aidan Lee Jackson is a geoscientist, and he is also someone who gave the Royal Institution Christmas lecture in 2020. So huge names in science that are very experienced and that have worked across different fields that will be joining our program in 2023. Obviously, I'm very biased about our program. Lots of other programs have lots of other exciting alumni. We've got a range of people that have gone on to do leading jobs all around the world and have gone on to change the world in different ways. Mark Shuttleworth is a great example of someone who founded the coding and computer organization Canonical, and has also become the first African astronaut, a civilian astronaut going out into space. Michael Maloney is a CEO of the American Institute of Physics. Lots of big names and lots of possibilities for students that have gone on to do different elements. So Jeremy Farrar, many of you will have heard about him during the time of the COVID pandemic. He is the director of the Wellcome Trust. He is a world famous virologist, and he gave the closing keynote address in 2018. And he was excited. And there's something about the culmination of all these parts that come together with young people together for a long period of time, that energy, that excitement, that inspiration. He was there after the program had finished, and he was there on the final day, and you could see how the students were energized and moving together and were working in an exciting way. I want to thank you for your time. We are passionate about changing the world around us. You can see more about LOISF at loisf.org.uk. Type it into any Google search, you'll find us. If you've got any questions after this session, we have some time to take some questions now, but if there are some questions or any other thoughts about our program, about what we offer, or about any collaborations, please don't hesitate to get in touch. You can contact us via our website. There is a participation fee to attend the Science Forum, and there's a moment you can see all those details on our website. But my main message, and it comes in this quote here, is to enable the thinkers of tomorrow. And whether young people are attending a science forum such as LOISF or any other event, the most important thing is that the students are doing extra activities to help them in their journey, but to give them the skills and the knowledge to move forwards and to inspire them in an innovative way. Thank you for your time today. Thank you for joining for this session. It's been a real pleasure. And I will stay here in case there are some questions or some comments.
We would like to thank Richard Myhill for taking time to give this very informative speech. Participants from Imsef will also have the opportunity to take part in London International Youth Science Forum, thanks to Mr. Myhill's collaboration. Now we can continue with the questions and answers. If you have any questions to our speaker, you can write on chat or you can ask directly. I will allow the chat function and the voice function now. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Do we have any questions, or I'll just wait a couple of minutes then. Okay, it looks like we don't have any questions, so thank you one more time for your speech and for giving us information about a very respected science forum, basically. Dear participants, our workshop is over. Thank you all for listening, and thank you all for sparing your time. And we will see you on Friday at the closing ceremony.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you. I am Ümit.
Hi, Umit. Thank you so much. I didn't see you there.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You are very welcome.
Yeah, I am very happy. Okay.
Good luck with everything.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Take care.